Think I'm putting my life on anybody's front porch? I just got my tires back. Ouch!
Yes, you said it right. Just overbroke. That job is the last place that I want to go to every single day.
For the people that I am filming for, can you tell them the reason that you're on my show today?
The reason why I'm here is because I'm here to talk about a little bit about what I do and what I want to offer to my community, to the world at large, and also about a stage play that I have that is dynamic that we've been doing for a few years now.
Okay, and for people who's not familiar with who she is, she's Ylonda Powell Medley, this power starter, like front runner. Like, tell them about your production company and how that came about.
All right, my production company came about, I believe, in 2001. Since I was a little kid, I did a lot of acting and I did a lot of auditioning in New York City when I lived in Connecticut. And a lot of stuff that I was seeing, and I also produced for my church at the time. I wrote skits and plays for Christmas and Easter and directed them and produced them there. And so as I began to audition and stuff in New York, I was finding that there was some roles that I just didn't feel comfortable doing, especially as a Christian.
Okay.
And I remember a few people were saying, you got to put that Christian stuff to the side, get that money. And I was like, I just didn't feel that. Mm-hmm. So I began my own company in 2001 because I just wanted to do more wholesome productions. And then from there, I just started producing. I fell in love with producing and directing and writing.
Okay, so you were making power moves, like you already knew that you wanted to do production.
Yes.
Right? Because you started out as an actor, but you touched on something that is profound to me. And I think when I watched one of Denzel Washington's interviews, he said all roles are not for him. So all money isn't good money, and you have to have integrity when selecting a role. So when you choose a role now, or even characters for your plays, what are you looking for?
Well, what I'm looking for is to make an impact, and to be effective and to touch someone's life positively. Like, there's enough negativity out there on TV and streaming apps, and so when I write a role or if I accept a role, I want to make sure that the role is, first of all, real. Like, I'm a real person, we deal with real issues. So I'm not saying that I don't want to do anything that may not be so Christian, but at the end of the day, I want people to walk away with a thought or with some hope or some inspiration through what I either accept as an actress or what I write about.
Right. And then with your play, with the play that you've been touring, tell us about that.
That play is called Stuck. I love this play. It's my baby. I call it my first baby. It's called Stuck. And the reason why I came up with that, a lot of people ask me, how did I come up with such a storyline? It's because when I was younger, I saw myself being stuck in a cycle of financial difficulties and chasing dreams and really not knowing. A lot of times we have dreams, but we don't know how to get there. We don't know what to do to go after them. And so I started seeing that my family, from generation to generation, some of the cycles were being repetitive. And even in my church and in my community, from even, not knocking the projects, but when you see a grandmother that was in the projects, then the next generation is still in the project, and the next generation, that's what compelled me to write about Stuck. And I remember, this is how good God is. I remember when I was writing it, I was dragging my feet with this thing. I was like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And I remember it was clear in July of 2009. No, I'm sorry, 2009. I heard the voice of God say to me, now is the time, get it done. And I was like, okay. So I went and I started writing the script, and I started the process in Connecticut. So I knew a lot of actors back there. So I went to some of the actors that I knew. I was like, look, I got this script. I ain't finished it, but I gotta get it. I gotta do something with it.
Right.
So I started gathering all my people together, and that's how stuff came about.
Okay, I love it. I love that you used the chains, the generational curses, the generational strongholds to create this production. So did you use family members per se to do this production?
I used a mixture of some family members that I knew that I grew up acting with, doing little skits and stuff on, for family gatherings. And then I used some friends that, I knew that they weren't so much of actors, but they could relate to the role and they wanted to put their hands out. They were like, let me try it. So that's how that came about. But yeah, it was started off with family and friends.
And then I'm going to toggle backwards. When you started acting, you started like doing musicals, like you were doing all kinds of things, like for somebody so young. So what is the most impactful play that you've ever taken part in?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I will say when I was 11 years old, I did my first professional production with Samuel L. Jackson before he blew up.
Wow.
And I still have fond memories of that production. I'm 45 years old now, so at 11, I didn't know that I was making history by being the original cast member of Piano Lessons.
Right.
And so I would say probably my play Stuck, and I want to say, Stuck is one of them.
That's
but
your
I have
baby.
to say,
I said, that's your baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my baby. But I have other plays that I did too, but Stuck was so special because I just wanted to do a play. I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about how many people came. And so I remember that right before the production, we only had sold like 100 tickets and the theater hold like 200. And I remember the night of the show, because I'm a stickler of starting on time. Like, I'm like, we got to start on time. I don't care who's here, who's not here. If I got to dress up as a character, I'll be starting on time.
Thanks.
So I remember producers, we were supposed to start at 7 and my producers weren't in place like we had talked about for months. And I was like, what are y'all doing? They was like, Ylonda, the line is wrapped around the building. People are trying to buy tickets. And I'm like, well, we only sold 100. Like, how many people out there? So when we did that debut, it was a debut like no other. The Spirit of God fell in that place. People were delivered. People were set free. Chains were broken. People were crying. And I just stuck my head out and I was like, oh my goodness. So that's what made that so special to me, because God really showed up and showed out, and it had nothing to do with me. It was a bigger picture.
Right. So you feel like you journeying, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, because I always do that, into production work, that is a spiritual journey, nevertheless.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
And why do you say that?
I say that because my intention, first of all, going back to when I heard the voice of God, when I felt that, because I'm not really big at, well, God told me this and God spoke to me, but I knew it was God prompting me to get this story out. Mm-hmm. And because we prayed together as a cast, mm-hmm. we all were on the same page. I remember the Saturday before our debut, we called just a special prayer meeting, no rehearsal or anything. We met up at the rehearsal space and we just prayed for like an hour. Mm-hmm. So I believe that it was a spiritual journey from the beginning, mm-hmm. because the play message is so powerful, mm-hmm. and it is much bigger than me. And I believe that's why God was using me as that instrument to get that story out.
What is one of your fondest words of wisdom that an actor or mentor shared with you?
Keep God first. That was one.
Right.
Keep God first, and just build character, integrity. That's right. Because there's even actresses that I knew back then that I was auditioning with, and we would get little roles and stuff together. They pretty much would do anything to get what they wanted. And so I just couldn't do that. And I know that a mentor has shared that with me. Stay true to the game, stay authentic, be real.
That's right.
and keep God first. I mean, that's what you got to do.
That's right. I think stay authentic. Like, I think they always say imitation is the best flattery, but I think I heard in one of Drake's newest songs, no, that irritated me. Like, that is nothing flattering about copying somebody, okay? So
exactly. When you don't need to, when you really don't need to, because God has given us all a special gift. You don't have to imitate anybody. In fact, you don't need to be jealous. If you're walking in your will and you're walking in that calling, there's no need for you to be jealous. I will help any other playwright. I've gotten calls and Instagram messages and people from all over the country. Well, how did you do that? And how did you, and I don't mind helping them. I'm like, call my phone. I'll help you. I'll give you some advice. So when you're walking and you know that God has assigned you and he has favor on your life, there's no reason for you to imitate anybody.
That's right. Hello. Okay.
Right?
When you select an actor or actress, what is one of the things that you teach them when they become part of your production? Or 3 things that you teach them?
Okay, that's awesome, because I didn't realize that when I cast, I also coach during rehearsals. And a lot of times when I audition people, I look for potential. And this is the reason why. If they're coachable and they're teachable during the audition, if I give them direction and I can see that they're going in the right direction, they may not be the most talented, but if I see their drive, then I'm more apt to say, you know what, I want to work with them because I can coach them and I can get them to where I need them to be in this role. And the reason why I do that is because I've worked with talent that had the big head.
Facts.
And they were coming late to rehearsals and this and that. And I was like, you know what, I will take someone that I can coach any day than someone that thinks that they have arrived.
Right. And you
get what I'm saying? Yeah. So one of the things that I do is I look for potential. And once I see that their drive is there and they're serious about being a part of the production, then I would go into coaching. Sometimes I would do one-on-one coaching with them for a particular role that they're doing. And the other thing is I just try to keep encourage them. To keep going, to use what I have taught them in other productions, and just go out there and keep doing what you're doing.
Being the best that you can be. Like, that is true with actors. Some are like, I'm here, and I'm like, no. Let's talk about boo.
I'm like, next. I'm like, okay, we'll see you later. I mean, and I've had to do that. And it's like, because I don't have time for it. I don't have time. If you're going to be a part of the production, you need to be on time. Right. I mean, things happen. Things do happen. And I have 2 daughters. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I understand things come up. But when you're just late and you strolling in with your soda, 15 minutes late, I'm like, oh no. Like, no. And you didn't call and say I'm going to be late or anything? No.
Right. Listen, no, not even water. Okay, bye.
Exactly, not even water.
What do you think is lacking in female-built ensembles? What would you like to see more of from your queens and your sisters that's doing the same thing?
You know what? I would want them to just keep going, be as professional as you can, and just stick together. Like when I moved to Charlotte, there was a young lady and I went to go support her play, and I did a live, and I went on Facebook and I wanted people to go and support her. But then when I needed some guidance, because I had just gotten here like less than a year, I was invited to the play. They weren't helpful at all.
Wow.
And not that that kind of stuff motivates me a little bit more, because I'm like, you ain't gonna stop me. I'll find that answer. I was just asking you because you already have kind of what I need to have in Charlotte.
Right.
So anyway, I just say, don't, like we just said earlier, don't be intimidated by helping,
right,
another queen, because if we can all stick together, we can be a powerful, powerful impact in the industry.
That's right. That's right. One of my biggest pet peeves is critiquing without saying thank you. As far as a professional, or in my field, is you can go do the work and they, oh well, we saw this and we saw that error, but you never hear the words thank you. So that will make me not even work with you again.
Yes,
I can deal with constructive criticism, but what I can't deal with is you not valuing my time. So as far as you're concerned, what is one of your, I know late lateness is one of your pet peeves.
Yeah.
So what is next to lateness, tardiness, and then just queens not helping and uplifting? What is one of your pet peeves?
One of my pet peeves is just not being professional and not being organized. And I know that when a couple of actors that I've worked with the last few years, I had taken a hiatus for a little while a few years ago, and they were doing other things, which I always encourage. And they came back to me. They was like, oh my God. They was like, we just thank God working for you. And I was working with you. And I was like, why you say it like that? They were like, oh my God, these people are so unorganized. Wow. It's drama in their rehearsals. They're not starting anything on time, and it's just unprofessional. And I was like, wow, that just made me feel good, because I go in the gate. I don't do that drama stuff. Don't bring any of that. Let's deal with it as adults. We're here to work, and if it's therapeutic to you, then that's what it is. Right. But yeah, being unprofessional and unorganized, that's a big pet. Oh yeah, I just can't do that.
I'm not talking about it. But
I've been on the other side of being a part of productions that are not organized, and I try to keep my mouth shut. And I'm like, look, you wanted me here at 7. You're not even putting me on to 8:30. Come on now.
Listen, I won't come back. You only get so much of my time before I'm like, you know what? I'm not even answering the phone. Like, you're going to get text messages and emails, but we're not going to have a conversation until I see that you bump some things up. So I love that.
Yes, exactly.
Do you think there will be any books in the horizon?
From myself? Mm-hmm. Yes, I actually do have a book that has actually opened a few doors for me in my career. It's called Theater Producing with Passion and Purpose. And the reason why I put that book together was because a lot of people had always asked me, how do you do it when you don't have a lot of money? I don't have the money, and I just kind of gave ideas and tips of how I did certain things on a shoestring budget. Wow. So that's pretty much what the book is about. And also how to, run your rehearsals professionally. When you can't pay your cast, what are other ways you can, your cast or your crew, what are other ways you can, compensate them? Right. So that's pretty much what the book is about.
Don't nobody want to be an intern forever, okay?
I know, right?
So when did you publish the book, and are you doing a relaunch? Like, what's good with that?
Well, the book came out in 2000. I moved to Charlotte in 2015, so I think it came out in 2016. And I actually am going to revamp the book more. I also want to do a workbook. So producers, that they can, when they can't have me there, I can give them really a step-by-step, and like they can write notes. They can go back and look at different things. I want to do the book and the workbook. Okay. So they can be very organized and professional. That's pretty much what I want to do.
So then what's next for you?
Well, what's next is that we have the DVD of Stuck that we've been pushing during the pandemic. We've done very well with the DVDs, selling them during the pandemic. So I thank God for that. I know a lot of people. I also have a play that got shut down because of COVID. This one's called Big Boys Do Cry. And this one is about a male who was holding on to so many childhood hurts that now he has a family, and he has to start dealing with a lot of those things. That was a really good play as well. And also we're working on doing a television pilot. This is called More Than Enough, and it's going to be about the spinoff of the role of Pastor Moore in Stuck. and how this female pastor has to deal with a lot of real issues. Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
So that church drama is something else, and it must be, okay?
Tell me about it. Yes.
So then with the pandemic, and I have 2 more questions. With the pandemic, were you affected? I mean, I know with the place shutting down, that's one way you were affected, but as far as, did you know anyone who caught COVID or any friends that's dealing with the financial aspects of it?
Well, I would say I dealt with COVID personally, just recently.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm sorry.
I said, wow. Like,
exactly. I was like, wow, you know, but I had to thank God because it wasn't as bad as I heard on the media. You know, I didn't lose any shortness of breath. I didn't lose any taste or smell. Mine was more of a lot of fatigue. And I will say during my time of going through it, it brought my spirits down because I was always on the go.
Right.
I was just busy, you know, and then I was like, I couldn't do anything.
Right.
And so, but financially, God had blessed me throughout the pandemic. I did know some people up north that died from COVID. So that was, you know, that was always very sad, you know. But yeah, as far as me, I did really good up until I got it.
Listen, I'm glad that you are here in your white doing the doggone thing, okay? So, and then with that, how can people follow you? Like purchase your DVDs, and then like stay, like you have another play coming out. If the Lord is willing, it'll happen.
Yes.
So they can stay up to the minute with that.
So this is Stuck. I don't know if you guys can see it. This is the DVD Stuck. And if you want to follow me, definitely I would say the first thing is to go to the website, jasondaproductions.com, and sign up for our email list. That way you can get all of our auditions. You can get anything that we're doing, events, new plays, or anything of that nature. Of course, we're on social media, Facebook and Instagram, at Jasonda Productions. Yeah, just Jasonda Productions. And yeah, that's the best way to get in touch with me. If you want to bring Stuck to your city, if you want to purchase a DVD, you could definitely go to the website. I believe you will not be disappointed. Teenagers and kids, they love this play. It's a family-oriented play. Even my children, one of the characters, they're like, I do not want to end up like Karen Day, Mama. And I'm like, you're not going to end up like her. So it just, you know, my kids are 9 and 11. Oh. So at that age, they already can see one of the characters in her boyfriend. They're like, I don't want that kind of man, Mom.
Right. But it's
so it's really a play for the whole entire family.
And I saw, I was watching some of it on your website. So I like that it just has so many different dynamics, including the comedy, because you can't have drama without some comedy.
Yes.
So I love that you had that mashup. Like, if you could put a time frame on it, how long did it take you to write that play? And this is my last question for real.
Oh no, it's okay. I can answer questions all day. Well, I will say this, and writers can probably agree with me and see where I'm coming from on this. I started writing in 2009, but I revamped that script up until maybe like 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
You know, just watching it and getting new ideas, and as time changes, you know, you might say, okay, let's try this, let's try that. But I'm done with it now. It's done. So I would say in the beginning, it took me about maybe a few months because I had to get it ready for the debut.
Right.
But like I said, I added and taken some things out over the years. So it took a few years to write it.
So it's always new. It's always a new play. Okay?
Yeah. But it's funny because a lot of people been asking, when are you doing Stuck again? When are you doing it live? I know you got the DVD, but I want to see it live. So what we're planning on doing next, when we do it next year, it is going to be all new stuff. We're going to put brand new music. We're putting more dancing in it. We're making the demon scene more dramatic and the angel scene more dramatic. So we're working on making it an all new stuff.
Oh, I love that. Congratulations. Yeah. You should, like, I hope to see it outside at Spirit Square, whenever you do it live, or at least some segments of it. So
Yes.
if you had an opportunity to work with another female playwright, who would that be? And that's it for real.
You're funny. Like the preacher that says, I'm getting ready to end in 10 minutes.
Oh, you ready to eat? He's still preaching.
You know what? I don't know any playwrights that are well known
Mhm.
to people to name.
Mhm.
Female playwrights, but I would love to work with Ava. Is that her name?
Ava
Yeah, I love to work with her. Yes. I just think I watched her in a few interviews, and I really believe that she is one of those sisters that I can, rub elbows with, and iron sharpens iron type thing.
Right.
So she's not a playwright, she's a movie maker, but she's one. But I also know a few people locally that are, pushing their product
Mhm.
that I would work with, just seeing their attitude about things. Not, they get discouraged. They may call me sometimes like, Ylonda, what do you do? I need an actor, and this actor, and I'm like, look, child, go find another one or talk to them. Yeah, so I believe that there's some local artists that I would love to hook up with. But if I had to name someone that a lot of people knew, it would be
Ava DuVernay
Yes.
and Shonda Rhimes, totally different.
Oh, yes.
But those two, bomb.com.
Yes. Tell me about it. Shonda Rhimes is the bomb. Like, yeah.
Ooh, listen, I will watch Grey's Anatomy every single day. I don't care if I've watched it 5 times. I'm gonna keep watching it because or How to Get Away with Murder.
How to Get Away with Murder.
The lines are so legendary, like just authentic, original. And I look for discrepancies. I'm one of the ones who goes like, okay, I heard that line in the other show, so you're gonna have to do better. But
oh my gosh, yes. You better do better.
But if you wanna be the best, you have to work with the best and put your ego aside. So I like that you're like, nah, I want to work with these because I can learn from these ladies, and then maybe I can teach them something too, because you're never so far out there that you can't learn from somebody else.
Exactly. Why not? That's what that's what it's all about, learning and teaching someone else.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for you. So again, social media handles and website information.
Yes, Jesonda Productions. That's JESONDA with the word productions with the S at the end. Or they can do jpclt.com. And then on Facebook, it's Jesonda Productions, and Instagram is Jesonda Productions.
Jesonda. So you're going to kill me if I ask another question. So thank you so much. We are done.